This is a classic cocktail that everybody should master. This is a whiskey sour. Let me show you how to make it. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Matt, I'm the whiskey nerd, and like I said, this week I'm keeping things classic with a whiskey sour. This is one of those cocktails that I always order when I'm trying out a new cocktail bar or a new restaurant that has a good cocktail menu. I always try out a whiskey sour first because it's one of those classic cocktails. It's simple enough that no bar should be able to get it wrong, but some still do, but it's also complex enough that bars can have a bit of flexibility, they can have a bit of freedom, they can use different bitters, different whiskeys, they can maybe make it a New York sour by adding a red wine float, or they can clarify it and make it clear. So there's a few different ways you can kind of upscale the cocktail without deviating too much from that classic sour formula. Speaking of a classic sour formula, it is a classic sour. It's just 2 parts spirit, 1 part citrus, 1 part sugar, and that's your basic sour formula. For my whiskey sours, I always add an egg white just to lengthen it out, just to make it a bit creamier, a bit more rich, a bit more luscious for my cocktails. If you're familiar with my channel, you'll know that I have made a whiskey sour a long time ago, and I think the less said about that video, the better. It was right at the start of my channel. I had a worse camera, worse audio, worse lighting, and my haircut was definitely very bad because it was in the middle of the COVID pandemic and I hadn't seen a barber for about a year. So I figured it's time I maybe revisit some of those old classic cocktails that I made at the beginning of the channel and kind of upscale them, make them just a little bit better. And where else to start than with that whiskey sour. For my whiskey, I'm using Teeling's small batch Irish whiskey. It comes in at 46% alcohol, so it is a great whiskey for cocktails because it does have a bit of weight and it's able to stand up to being diluted by those other ingredients, but it's still a nice whiskey in its own right. It's a blended whiskey of malt and grain whiskey that was finished in a Caribbean rum cask, so it's got a little bit of extra character, a little bit of extra kind of flavor to it, and I think it does translate well into the cocktail. I'm also using some just freshly squeezed lemon juice, a 2-to-1 sugar syrup, so 2 parts sugar, 1 part water, melted until it's all together, orange bitters and Angostura bitters, and of course a little bit of egg white. And that's enough talking about the cocktail. It is time to make it. It is a shake and drink, so we're going to get our shaker tin and we're going to pop a nice rock of ice into there. Now I found with those large rocks I have and with the width of this shaker tin, when I whip that shaker back and forth, I can get a really good frothy head on my cocktails. If you can't, or if you're maybe you don't have different ice cubes, or you just can't get that really good head on your cocktails, I'd suggest you do a dry shake, which is where you shake the ingredients without the ice, you add the ice in afterwards, and you shake it again. So you get 1 shake to kind of create the foamy head, and then 1 shake to kind of dilute it and chill it, so you're not over shaking your cocktail. But as I said, I can get a really good result from just that nice big rock of ice in my shaker tin, so that's all I use. And now we're going to measure in our ingredients. Like I said, it's a 2-1-1, so I'm going to go in with 2 ounces or 60 ml of my whiskey into there. Like I said, it's Teeling's small batch Irish whiskey. Very nice for cocktails, but as I said, a very nice whiskey in its own right. So that there was 60 ml, and then we're going to go in with 30 ml, so 1 ounce of our lemon juice just into there. Always use freshly squeezed juices if you can, because it just does make a huge difference in your final cocktail, because there's a big difference, I think, between fresh and kind of store-bought lemon juice. Then it's just 30 ml or 1 ounce again of our sugar syrup, and I've already measured out my egg white, so I don't need to crack an egg. I've already got 30 ml of my egg white that I can add into there, and then I'm going to add my bitters into the cocktail. I'm going to go in with 1 dash of orange bitters because I like the kind of flavor you get from orange bitters in a whiskey sour, and 1 dash of Angostura bitters. I will, however, be adding another few drops of Angostura bitters right at the top of the cocktail at the very end, just to make sure I got a nice kind of flavor. But I'm going to bang this down and shake it away for about 30 seconds. Okay, I think that is about as chilled as we need it, so I'm going to bang the top off our cocktail shaker and get ready to strain it out into a nice chilled coupe glass. We're going to double strain it just to make sure we get a nice clean presentation on our cocktail, and we're just going to pour it straight through our Hawthorne and our fine strainer into our cocktail glass, just like that. And while that settles, we are going to put our garnish on our cocktail. Like I said, going to put a couple of drops of Angostura bitters just to give a bit of extra aroma. As you bring it up to your nose, you can get those little bits of flavor. So I'm just going to put 3 drops just over here, just like that, because on the other side of the glass, I'm going to put a little bit slice of dehydrated lemon, just like that. And that right there is how I make a classic whiskey sour. Now real quick, before I taste this cocktail, if you're new here, scroll down, hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button. I put out whiskey reviews on Wednesdays, and I put out cocktail recipes featuring whiskey every Friday. So if you want to see more, make sure you hit subscribe. But for now, let's taste this cocktail. That is classic. I mean, there's a reason a classic whiskey sour is so hard to beat, because I think that combination, whiskey, sugar, and lemon, is just so hard to beat. And because you're using an egg white, the egg white, it is slightly alkaline. If you're not familiar with acids and alkaline, the egg white is slightly alkaline, which neutralizes some of the acid you get in the lemon juice, which means you just get the flavor of the lemon juice rather than all that kind of acidity and sharpness. The little bit of orange, the little bit of Angostura bitters really does hold it all together. And because you got those drops of Angostura up top, as you bring it up, you get a little bit of that aroma, but then it's backed up by that sweet lemon whiskey goodness. So yeah, there's not really much else to say about this other than the fact that it is a classic cocktail. And if you like classic cocktails, this is definitely one for you to master, because if you're a good bartender or if you're a home bartender, you gotta know how to make a whiskey sour. But I'm gonna keep on enjoying this, and I'll see you next time. Sláinte.